Now on CBS 46 News at 6.
We will take whatever action is necessary to protect the lives and the livelihoods of all Georgians.
A brief pause on the path toward reopening Georgia. We have live team coverage.
There's always a suspicion about them because they're a young African-American male living life like every other person, and yet somehow that's a threat to some white folks. Y'all need to get a grip.
A deadly shooting reopens festering wounds. We're live where Ahmaud Arbery's life ended.
Cannot tell you how much I appreciate this.
Oh, no problem.
Another win for Better Call Harry. He gets an unemployed worker the money needed to keep the lights on. But first, right now at 6 o'clock, more bad news for temporarily shuttered businesses across our state. In less than 10 minutes, how the coronavirus is wiping out beloved bars and boutiques. All eyes and ears remain focused on Brunswick, Georgia tonight.
The city, with a population of nearly 15,400 people, now the epicenter of a possible hate crimes investigation. Ahmaud Arbery's autopsy reveals he was shot 3 times, including twice in the chest. A father and son now charged with his murder.
We have team coverage tonight covering every angle of this case, and we begin in Brunswick. Haley.
Hey there, Rick. There are 2 popular scenes in Brunswick right now. Right here on Satilla Drive, where I'm standing in front of this growing memorial. It's at the place where Ahmaud Arbery lost his life. The second place is the Brunswick or Glenn County Courthouse, where I obtained these documents. Their recusal letters officially asking every judge in the Brunswick Judicial District off of the case as a new special prosecutor comes in, and calls for change grow louder. About 10 miles away from the scene of a growing memorial, the spot where Ahmaud Arbery's life was cut short, lawmakers from across the state came to the Glenn County Courthouse to demand change in Georgia law.
Because we can't have this happen again in this country, and certainly not in the state of Georgia.
Arbery's father, his aunts, and cousins looked on as mostly Democrats from Georgia's House of Representatives called for Governor Kemp to remove District Attorneys George Barnhill and Jackie Johnson for reportedly mishandling Arbery's case and for not pushing for charges.
And that if it's appropriate, that they be charged with criminal obstruction.
The lawmakers called for Georgia's citizens arrest law to be repealed and for the hate crime bill that's in the General Assembly to be renamed the Ahmaud Arbery Hate Crime Bill. This video showing Arbery looking into a house under construction has raised more questions about what Gregory and Travis McMichael actually saw before chasing Arbery down. I spoke with Arbery's family about it today.
We're not worried. We're going to let our faith that we have in God, and we're going to continue to pray, and we're going to let the Lord lead us. We're going to stay positive as a family. We're going to let the negativity go, and we're going to keep pushing for justice for Ahmaud.
The fight for justice also resonates in Atlanta. CBS46 was in the room when Atlanta City Council member Antonio Brown gave Arbery's family this proclamation declaring May 8th Ahmaud Arbery Day.
It was a painful loss because we lost someone that we love, but his death is now not in vain.
And just down this road here is where that now viral video was shot. I talked to the attorney of the man who recorded the video. He tells me that his client was nothing more than a witness, not a participant in a crime, but still his role and his story raises more questions than answers we have right now. Reporting live in Brunswick, Haley Mason, CBS 46 News.
Haley, thank you. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation also on the Ahmaud Arbery case. The GBI has a team fixated on how local prosecutors first reacted to Arbery's shooting back in February. Chief Investigator Jonathan Carlson continues our live team coverage. Jonathan, good evening.
Good evening to you. The Glenn County District Attorney, one of those being investigated, sending me a statement today after we repeatedly asked for comment. It's a 2-paragraph press release, no questions or interviews given. This is the only transparency we're getting from her. DA Jackie Johnson and Waycross DA George Barnhill, the 2 DAs who failed to see an arrest through, may have acted at the very least with unprofessional conduct, at worst criminally, says the State Attorney General. The AG's office refusing to tell us why the 2 are still on the job during the investigation. Meanwhile, sources at the county level tell me there is growing internal pressure for resignations. It's something the NAACP as well is calling for. Meanwhile, in this letter, the Glenn County DA slaps back against the GBI and Attorney General's investigation, saying she acted appropriately in handling the case and blames criticism on those with a, quote, agenda. She wouldn't back up those claims with an interview. I'm Jonathan Carlson, the CBS 46 Bulldog.
Opinions on the Ahmaud Arbery investigation are coming from all walks of life, Rick.
That's right, Sean. The rich, the not so rich, and everyone in between seemingly has something to say. And tonight, add the former chairman of the Republican National Committee to that list.
There's always a suspicion about them because they're a young African-American male living life like every other person, and yet somehow that's a threat to some white folks. Y'all need to get a grip.
Michael Steele not holding back his feelings, as you heard. The first African-American elected to statewide office in Maryland, saying Ahmaud Arbery's death highlights the prominent role that race and hatred still have in America. CBS 46 leading coverage on the shooting death of Ahmaud Arbery. Stay with us online and on the air for all the latest developments. And you can also download the free CBS 46 streaming app for updates.
To streamline contact tracing across the state, we are rolling out a new online monitoring tool, the Healthy Georgia Collaborative, which will allow Georgians to identify contacts and monitor symptoms.
Governor Kemp speaking on continued efforts to wipe out the coronavirus nearly 1 month after reopening the state. The governor's approval ratings are sinking as Georgians continue to practice social distancing.
That's right. Numbers from a Washington Post poll reveal only 39% of people polled approve of how the governor is handling the pandemic. Team coverage tonight begins with CBS 46's Mike Dunstan at the state capitol, where the governor just wrapped up a wide-ranging news conference. And you asked him about those polling numbers, Mike.
Yeah, he said that that's not what he's focused on, Rick and Sean. But let's talk more about that contact tracing program that you just heard about. It's called the Healthy Georgia Collaborative. It's to identify folks who came into contact with confirmed coronavirus patients. And the governor says it really is about limiting the spread of the virus. Here's more.
This monitoring tool does not collect any data other than what was entered by the contact. This is how the process is going to work. Residents who test positive for COVID-19 will be contacted by trained public health staff who will work with that individual to recall anyone they might have had close contact with while infectious.
All right, so the governor also talked about some new initiatives, some new dates and new developments about reopening Georgia. Here's a bottom line. Nightclubs, live music events, and bars are going to stay closed through May the 31st. Summer day camps are allowed to open on May the 14th, but overnight camps will stay closed. And there are a limited number of state agencies here in downtown that will be opening on May the 18th. So that's the latest from the state capitol. I'm Mike Dunstan, CBS 46 News.
Governor Kemp's decision to extend restrictions on certain Georgia businesses comes as we near the unofficial beginning of summer. CBS 46's Ashley Thompson continues our team coverage, speaking with business owners waiting for their turn, Ashley, to reopen.
And this is bad news for club owners. Their doors will remain closed at least through the end of the month. Many business owners losing a lot of money because of all of this.
Governor Kemp has ordered live performance venues, bars, and nightclubs to remain closed. It's a big blow to some business owners now playing the waiting game. The famous dance floor at Johnny's Hideaway in Buckhead now blocked off. And M Bar in downtown Atlanta sits empty after owner Damian Gordon spent hundreds of thousands of dollars renovating it. Keeping nightlife venues closed, something Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms may support. Bottoms has been one of the governor's most vocal critics as he's reopened the state. Kemp once again touted the state's response to the coronavirus today, saying Georgia is seeing new lows in both hospitalizations and ventilator usage. But the positive stats, not enough to reopen bars and nightclubs yet.
For us, we are in a holding pattern because the building that we designed was built for personal interaction. It wasn't designed to go. I understand in large environments, unless you're going to require everyone to wear a mask, you upgrade your HVAC system that can work with a viral situation such as this, then I understand.
And new reports out of South Korea, more than 100 new COVID-19 cases, all linked back to nightclubs there. Certainly something for us to remember here in the States. Live in Atlanta, Ashley Thompson, CBS 46 News.
Alicia Roberts at the live desk. Breaking tonight, the governor has signed a new executive order clarifying that new drivers who received their license but did not take their road test during the government services shutdown will have to do so. The governor saying he's received a lot of questions about the process. Most in-person driver services are suspended through at least June 12th when the current public state of emergency expires. New drivers will have until September 30th to take that road test to keep their license.
We've got a lot to talk about. First of all, we're going to be talking about heat. We're going to be talking about very little rain. And we're talking about the tropics as well. Hurricane season doesn't even start until June 1st, but we could see a system in the next 5 days. Let's get to CBS 46 pinpoint satellite and radar. There are a couple little showers developing in the North Georgia mountains. These are very isolated. Could see a few more of them tonight. That is going to stay confined in the North Georgia mountains. As you can see, that system is to our north, moving through Arkansas, Missouri, Tennessee. That is moving east. So 98% of that system will stay out of our viewing area, but as it moves east, a few little sprinkles could develop in the North Georgia mountains. This is north of I-20. Could see it through early tomorrow morning as well. Most of us dry. Just want to let you know it is a possibility. That system is going to bring us a little more cloud cover, so it will be partly cloudy tonight with those clouds not as chilly. Last night we dropped down to 49. Tonight we'll drop down to the mid-50s instead with a low of 54 degrees. Then tomorrow, that is when the big warm-up starts. The average high this time of year is 80. We'll be very close to that with a high of 79 in Atlanta, 77 in Eatonton, 78 in Rome. Once we get through tomorrow, we are in the 80s and we're going to stay in the 80s. 83 on Thursday, 84 Friday, 87 Saturday, 88 Sunday. So we are going to warm up big time, especially by the weekend, with temperatures nearly 10 degrees above average. It will start to feel like summer. And when you look at this, it will look like summer on the radar as well. This is a look at tropical formation. We talk about hurricane season all the time. It starts June 1st through November 30th. The peak is in September with the peak date September 11th. But as you can see, the number of storms really starts to ramp up in August and September. But even in June, that hurricane season starts. We don't see as many storms, but certainly it's a possibility. And we're looking at the possibility of one forming in May. It's this area of low pressure. It's going to develop off the coast of Florida as we head towards the weekend. And it could be our next tropical or subtropical system. Good news is, as of now, it does look like it will stay off the coast. So it is not expected to make its way inland, but certainly could bring some dangerous rip currents and some beach erosion as it forms off the coast of the Carolinas and Florida. It's that area in orange we are watching closely. That is where the system is expected to develop. Over the next 5 days, it has a 50% chance of becoming our next tropical system. And if it does, our 2020 hurricane names list is here. It would be Arthur. So we could be talking about Arthur in less than a week. You see the rest of the names as we head through the rest of the season. Bertha, Cristobal, Dolly, Eduard, Faye, Gonzalo, and the list goes on and on and on. Again, these names are recycled every 6 years. And those that are strong or caused significant damage, those are retired forever. So you're going to see some new names on that list and some names you've seen before over the last 6 years. As we head towards the weekend, there is that heat, highs in the upper 80s. Even into next week, we'll stay in the 80s. Very little rain in the forecast. On Sunday and Monday, we'll see just an isolated chance of rain with a 20% chance of showers, which is actually really great because January, February, March, and April, we had very high rainfall totals, well above average. So getting this nice long break to dry out is something that we could appreciate and something we desperately need.